welcome to the Cardon and Ferris High School Sports Show on Rock Sports Now. I'm Jeff DiVeronica with my co-host Steve Bradley, and joining us on our specialty Skype hotline, a guy who's had a pretty darn good last 10 days. Chris Cardon joins us, the 36-year coach for Irondequoit boys basketball, and the latest entrant into the 500 win club for Section 5 basketball. Only the fifth coach in Section 5 boys basketball history to get there, and he did it in style. A big 9-0 run to end the game. It was a very tight game against Wayne last week, but the Eagles pulled it out. Chris, welcome to the show. Congratulations on that. You, Thanks, sir, are our G&G Fitness Coach of the Week. I figured you got the 500 wins. I had to make you the Coach of the Week.
Oh, awfully nice of you. Do I get free? Do I get like a free treadmill or something? Or
you'll have to ask Kevin Downey about that, right?
Kevin Downey, yeah. Well, anyway, it's for making the impact on lives of young people, not just about wins and losses. And I know you well enough to know from working at Irondequoit and also my coverage of the Democrat and Chronicle that you really impacted young people's lives. You had a great interview with Bob Lonsberry earlier in the week where you talked about that and what you try to impart on the kids today. Is your message different now than it was 20 years ago to these kids? And in what way, I guess?
Well, I think the kids still really care, and they have a lot of pride, and they want to win. They have other obstacles that we didn't have back in the day. But if anybody says they've changed, it's because of society's changed. I find these kids get just excited when we win, and they hurt just as much when we lose. And they put a lot of time in the off season, maybe more so than some teams I've had. And I love this group.
Chris, you've always been kind of a big picture guy too. Somebody that we would talk to, and you would look at the whole bracket, the whole season, whatever the issue is. Your team comes in as the number 4 seed. You're going to play number 5 Canandaigua in the A1 bracket. How's the bracket shape up from your perspective as a coach and as an analyst too?
A lot of potholes. A lot of potholes. Our A1 bracket's really, really tough. And I know most of the brackets are tough, but we have a lot of teams with winning records and a lot of teams that have played good teams and stuff. So I think it's a real tough bracket. I think Mendon's as good as anybody in Rochester. Thomas is playing really well. Schrader is really tough to play against. They're really good defensively, and now they're scoring. Canandaigua's been consistent all year. You look at Athena, they can put up points. And I know I'm missing some people. Brighton played Thomas to 2 tough games and split with us. So, you're talking a lot. Churchville at 8 just beat us and Thomas. So,
yeah,
it's really a crapshoot. And it's a really competitive bracket, no doubt.
Somebody told me the kid from Churchville, the guard, is it Jason Gibbs? He's been the best guard they've seen all year long. You guys went there and you lost by 14 points a couple weeks ago after almost beating Victor a couple days before, Chris. How good is that young man, and can he carry them a little ways? Yeah?
He's great. Great kid. No matter if he wins or loses, he's a humble kid, really nice kid. I totally respect him and his coach, Tim Miller. The first time we played him, he had 18, but he didn't shoot well. We did a pretty good job on him. And then out there, he just kind of willed his guys, not only with his play, but just with his confidence. And it's hard playing out there. We were just talking today with Scott Fitch and Griffin Coles, and it's like nobody plays well at Churchville. They just play really well at home, especially, and nobody plays well against them. But he's really good. He's really, he's one of the top players in Rochester, no doubt about it.
Chris, how about your team? We know about Ryan Heath. He's the one returning starter from last year, but give us a snapshot of the Eagles.
Well, yeah, Ryan's really the only returning starter, and we were able to have some transfers. Guys moved to Irondequoit. Xavier Giesendanner, he comes in about 16 points a game and about almost 8 rebounds a game, and he's a pretty good defender. We put him on Mason Blankenberg last game, and Mason's a great player, really good player. And he made it a little tougher for him. And then you have Evan Leonardo, who can knock down some threes. Damon Brumfield plays inside, outside. And I got Charles Barnes. We have inserted in the lineup the last few games to give us some defensive presence and some rebounding. And then I got Owen Salerno, who was starting. He's coming off the bench now, along with, Quinn Vankerhove and, Kenyon Lovett. So we've been inconsistent. We've been inconsistent. At times we play great defense. At other times, not as good. There's times we shoot the ball better than others. I guess everybody can say that. But our best could be yet to come. It could be yet to come.
You started 2-2, and then you won 8 straight. And that 2-2 start was a loss to Brighton, which you didn't play well, and then a win at Thomas, which is a good win. I think they may have been shorthanded that night too. But then you talked about inconsistency. Like I said, you almost beat Victor in a game that I didn't think that was gonna happen. You are literally a ball hanging on the rim at Hilton by Ryan Heath, a layup at like 3 seconds to go. If that goes in, you might win that game at Hilton, which would have been a great win. And then you lay the egg at Churchville, but then you come back with 3 straight wins. You avenge the loss to Brighton, you beat Gates, and Wayne was a tough out. That was that final score, 55-43, not indicative at all. Because these guys knew their coach was going for 500, and they knew that they couldn't lose this game. It was 46-43, and Heath has the ability to take over a game, and he did that. He just sealed that deal to make a couple steals late. He did good bloodlines with him. His brother was on a really good team a couple years ago. And Brumfield, I believe he is related to Nate Brumfield. I think it's his brother, I think.
Brother, yeah.
Nate Brumfield, of course, an AGR Player of the Year for East High School, Steve. So you got kids who know how to play. Maybe the old coach can pull the best out of him here in the postseason. Have you needed to change at all how you operate?
I think you have to be more positive, especially nowadays. You can't, in the past, I was always on the guys pretty hard, and I try not to be on them too hard, though I am at times. You try to be a little bit more positive with them this day and age. I think any era they reacted better when you're more positive, but it took me a long time to realize that relationships are really, really important. Mm-hmm. And I sensed some, a little bit of anxiety with the guys. We haven't talked about 500 at all. I haven't even really, other than you and Sam bringing it up, I haven't really, and before the game, I just told them the best thing you have given me is your time. You've given me your time, and all I want from you tonight is effort. It's not about this or that. This isn't about me. This is about us. So I try to take the pressure off them. We knew Wayne was going to be good. Their record's not indicative. I mean, Blankenberg probably was out 3, 4, or 5 games with a concussion. So he's an all Greater Rochester player. And, we played him really tough, and he had some nice, plays and stuff and kept them going. But, I was not surprised that was going to be a tough game. They could play with anybody in our division.
Steve, we're late for a break. My apologies. Let's go into break talking about one of our great sponsors, Bath Fitter, 617-0007, bathfitter.com. You see it on your screen there. There's a reason Bath Fitter is one of the top grossing outfits in the country for this brand. It's because they do great work in Rochester, folks. Give them a call. They can remake your bathroom in one day. They got a great financing deal going right now. I think it's no interest for 36 months. Don't quote me on it. Let them quote you on it. Give them a call. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Thanks to Bath Fitter for supporting our show. We'll take a quick break, come back, talk more with Chris Cardon right here on the Cardon and Ferris High School Sports Show.
There's a path to success full of challenges, rewards, inspiration, and strength. A strength that only the U.S. Army Reserve can give you. The skills and experiences you'll get will give you an advantage in your civilian life. Stay close to home, train to develop your strengths, and get on a path to success. Find out more at goarmy.com/reserve.
For more information, contact Syracuse Army Recruiting Center, 315-449-2830. There's strong. Then there's Army Strong, paid for by the U.S. Army.
come here as a sixth grader or a ninth grader, you have to spend your 4, 5, 6 years here and just get involved in so many different things. And then you're going to go out and set fire on the earth. When you get through McQuaid Jesuit, you're not going to fail when you get out in the world.
Tell you about my friends at Bath Fitter. 30 years across the country they've been doing this stuff. 20 plus years in Rochester. You don't have that kind of longevity without treating your customers right, doing great quality work. Please check them out online, bathfitter.com. Call the local office at 617-0007. It's Bath Fitter Rochester. Don't be a DIY diva and try to do it yourself. Don't screw it up. Let the pros do it. Remodel with confidence. Remodel with Bath Fitter. And please tell them you heard about it right here from Jeff DiVeronica on the Cardon and Ferris High School Sports Show. We're brought to you by Salvador's Pizza.
There are plenty of professional sports teams in Rochester, but there's also a lot of great high school sports action in each town in our area. When's the last time you checked out a high school game? Section 5 sports are about more than just wins and losses. They're about teaching teamwork, dedication, and discipline. So support the kids who play for your school. Get out and watch a high school game today. For more information, including schedules, rosters, and stats, visit section5.org. That's sectionv.org. Brought to you by the Monroe County League and Section 5.
In doing the work you do, if you're hurt, we'll help you through.
Don't be fooled. Video hearings are as critical as appearing in person.
Make sure your rights are protected.
Your employer has trained specialists on their side.
And the judges work for New York State.
The only person on your side
is the attorney at your side.
Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys.
Local McDonald's operators care about our local schools, teams, and student athletes. That's why they support the return of high school athletics in the Rochester area and around the state. See you before or after the big game at McDonald's. Welcome back, Section 5. Game on!
Welcome back to the Cardon and Ferris High School Sports Show on Rock Sports Now. I'm Jeff DiVeronica with Steve Bradley. Going to pay some bills here now and talk about the U.S. Army. A great sponsor. The Army can help pay for your college education. If you don't know what you want to do, give these guys a call, these guys and gals a call. There's the numbers on the screen. They can tell you about more than 150 different careers in the U.S. Army. Give them a call. Tell them that we sent you. And who knows, maybe you can get your college education paid for by the U.S. Army. So thanks for them for sponsoring our program. On our specialty Skype hotline is the legendary coach of the Irondequoit Eagles, who somehow got a job as a varsity coach after going 3-17 in his first season at Eastridge way back in 83, 84. His name is Chris Cardon. And, Steve, I'm going to jump ahead of you on the question. Sorry.
Of course you are.
You went from Eastridge varsity, 3-17, couple years JV. I guess why did you leave Eastridge of your own accord, Coach Cardon, or did they say, you know what?
I
maybe
was
one and done?
I was substitute teaching. I had a great group of guys there. It was hard because you're playing against Fairport, one Webster, Rush. It was Mendon, Sutherland. It was a tough East-West type of thing. And I just felt that I didn't have a teaching job there. So I moved on. And I went to Arcadia for a year with Doug Childs, and then I got a job at West Irondequoit. And, from there I did the JVs. I did the JVs at Irondequoit. I had Dan Fichter on the team and a couple guys. And then I moved up with them for the varsity. Was able to get a job at doing the varsity at Irondequoit. Denny Freeze hired me like a second father and just, and it wasn't easy. We had some good years, but we had lean years. And I tell these young coaches, I know you want to win right away, but it took us, I don't know how many years to even get to Blue Cross.
Chris,
I'm looking at it. Go ahead, Steve.
No, it's interesting, because you have that message to the young coaches, but in your post-game remarks to Paul Gotham in Picking Splinters the other night, a veteran coach, these losses still get you. The losses hurt, don't they? That just shows the passion that you have. But how hard is it for you after a loss?
Crushing. I just really, it's crushing. I'm retired, and you get the whole day to, before the game, you get the whole day. You prepare the guys as much as you can. You watch a couple Yellowstone reruns here and there, and you just kind of, I don't know. When you lose, I'm just like, I mean, I never would go out to eat after. We go out to eat after the games, talk with the couple coaches, but I'm crushed. I just, now if we lose and we play well, there's some satisfaction there, and then the wins, it's like, okay, who do we have next? And it's like, it's really hard. It's really hard, and we've won a lot lately, and some people probably think I'm spoiled, and I have been lately, but we've had losing seasons and we've been through all those tough times, but losing never gets easy, I'll tell you.
Well, a lot of people don't realize this. I didn't know until I did the year-by-year thing for you, Chris, with the record by each season. It took you like 20 years just to get to a championship game, Section 5 championship game.
It did.
And you finally, I think you did it. I think when you finally got to one, you won it, right? Was it the
Well, we lost, and I think in 2005 or 6 we lost J-Mac year, and then we lost another one, and in 2011 we finally broke through. Now we've been honored to play in a lot of championship games since then, winning some, losing some. So it's hard to get there. You gotta be good, and you have to be lucky or fortunate. Things have to go your way a little bit, and some things you can't control, but a lot of things you can control.
Chris, how about the state title in 2017? Obviously, that's the pinnacle in New York State. What did that team and what did that season mean to you?
That was unbelievable. The year before, we had a really close game with Athena, overtime loss to Anthony Lamb, and the guys came back with vengeance. And we had good basketball players. We had a combination of good athletes, some just basketball guys and some 2-3 sport guys, and that was great. That was just really good. But the guys did get full of themselves a little bit, and we had a tough loss at Victor. Zach Stenglein didn't play; he was hurt, and we get him back. And then we make a run. We get to the semis and play Buddy Boeheim at 9:00 in the morning. James Wood-Witt, and then the next day we played and won, and then we had to go to the Federation game against Albany Academy, which was a challenge. So, but people still talk about it like, I know when we play teams, they'll say, yeah, this team is a state champion. I mean, this is 5 years later. Everybody's going to, be up to play us, and we just hope that we can match that intensity.
I will say it's kind of cool that the 3 titles you've won, they're all against the team that I think is your biggest rival, Greece Athena.
Yeah.
I know you had a good relationship with Jim Johnson.
Yeah.
And he was one of the coaches that spoke after you won 500 the other night.
Good
some well wishes for
friend.
Yeah.
We go way.
You have a lot of ties with some of those guys. Like Bud Brasky was telling me how you played against them in college, I think, together.
We played against him in high school and college, and then I played against Jimmy in high school. And then when Jimmy and I worked camps, we'd go up to Jeff Van Gundy up in Providence, work a week, and then we'd come home, sleep for 6 hours, and drive to Georgia Tech in Atlanta with Rich Brown, was the grad assistant. And it was one year, it was so hot, the chickens were all dying. We were hearing on the way down. It was just so hot. So we went down there a couple of times, and Jimmy and I have been to like probably 30 clinics together. We're really good friends. I don't see him as much, but really good friends. And it was always a challenge to play their teams. And it still lives with Mike Setzer there.
How about, Chris, the guys that you saw as players in high school are now your contemporaries as coaches? I think Griffin Coles is somebody you mentioned, Tim Miller. When you see these young men grow up and become adults and give back, is there a sense of satisfaction there too?
Yeah, I think the one thing about the coaches, we just had our county meeting today, is there's such a great mutual respect for everybody. I mean, Scott Fitch, I remember coaching freshman soccer, and he played against us, playing against him as a junior and a senior, and, coaching against these guys is just as much of a challenge as coaching against them when they were players, because you mentioned some really, really good players. So it's a lot of satisfaction to see, a full turn, and you hope that, along the way you can help these guys a little bit with some things that you've been through, and then they can expand, because that's what it is. It's a camaraderie. I mean, you want to beat teams so bad, but you have so much respect. I have so much respect for all the coaches we coach against.
A New York State Basketball Coaching Association Hall of Famer, Chris Cardon.
Not yet.
Yeah, you are. You're a Hall of Famer.
He hasn't had the induction yet, right? Is that what he's saying?
No, they haven't had the induction. They wanted to do it on Zoom this year. We had a choice, so I said, well, let's wait till next year. So, whatever. There's so many other deserving guys that go in before me. Maybe they'll figure that out.
Well, you're another one of the reasons that I knew that going to West Irondequoit and Irondequoit High School was one of the best moves I ever made. I knew it was kind of serendipitous that I ended up there, and I wish you obviously the best of luck. I'm rooting for the Eagles, and Steve, I'm really glad we had this conversation with Chris, because I've met a lot of coaches over the years. I tweeted this, and I mean it sincerely. I've never met another coach since I got to Rochester with as much passion for high school basketball as you, and much dedication to it. So I really respect that. And
appreciate that. Reciprocal over in my end for you, Jeff, Steve. I mean, we know the paper, it's tough nowadays and stuff, but you guys keep stuff alive with the high school sports show, and it's greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you, Chris. And I think the other thing, Jeff, let's not sell short the impact Chris had as an educator too. We know people who he had as a teacher, middle school phys ed, and gave every kid a nickname, made them feel important. So, it goes beyond basketball.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It absolutely does. Leo Roth, our former colleague with the DNC, wrote a tremendous piece after you won the state title. So you can Google that. Just Google Leo Roth and Chris Cardon. If you can't spell Leo Roth, you got bigger problems. For our producer, Joe Brott, my co-host, Steve Bradley. Chris, thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
For everybody in the studio and me in my living room, thanks for being on our show, folks. Thanks to Chris. And keep watching. Get out and support the Eagles, all your local teams. It's a great time of the year and real exciting. So thanks for watching us right here on the Cardon and Ferris High School Sports Show.